What's up guys, Classic Colin here with another video. So what we're going to do guys is we're going to have a quick look at this video, which I don't know if you guys have seen this. I've not actually seen it posted on YouTube too much, to be honest. Most people have just been covering the Wowhead little write-up that they did, which I'll link in the description below if you guys want to have a little read through that. But this is the actual interview with the devs, which I thought was pretty dope, and it's nice to see Blizzard like allowing them to just live stream this and shit. So I don't know, man. I feel like Blizzard's moving forward a little bit after the whole, you know, PR disaster that we've had with Blizzard. Yeah, man. I don't know. Big W for Blizzard from BlizzCon, genuinely. Like, I'm super hyped about Classic, Cataclysm, and Blizzard's idea of Classic Plus, I guess. So let's have a look at this interview, guys, and see what's going on.
Okay, well, Classic Plus, or I guess Seasons of Discovery.
Yeah, sure.
I think the biggest question change, I've done the demo so many times now, but that is...
Speed running it?
Yeah, we sped running, we did, yeah. You know we did.
Oops.
Where'd the rune idea come from? The rune system? Yeah, I guess let's start that. Where'd that come from? What was the idea of that?
I feel like I'm hogging the mic here. Do you want to try to take a stab at
I
this?
think it was more of a group effort.
Yeah,
a little bit.
really,
Like,
yeah.
I was about to start throwing out names, and I was like, I shouldn't do that. But I really do think, like, in general, we got.
Those fucking names, bro. I think the rune system's dope. Like, what a cool way to put this shit in the game. It was either this or like tier set bonuses, which would just suck because you'd have to get to endgame, whether it's level 25 or level 60, it's irrelevant. You have to grind all the dungeons and stuff, and you'd have to get all the gear and put it together before the class plays like you want it to play. I don't know, it's like in retail, if you look at, it's been this way for a while now, but if you look at a class has got like a set bonus for like 4 pieces of raid gear that you equip, and you want a PvP on that class or PvE on that class, and you like the way that the set bonus makes your class play, because they really changed the way the classes play, you've got to wait until you've got 4 pieces for the class to play how you want the class to play when you signed up for the class, which is just bizarre to me. I don't think that set bonuses should do that much of a big thing. But yeah, the rune system seems super dope, but let's carry on.
Together as a team, there was lots of brainstorming. There was lots of like, what should this system look like? How do we want players to interact with these abilities, these class-changing abilities, right? Do we want them to be like hot swappable, like you can just change them at any time, learn them like a book of spells, you know what I mean? Like, or do we want them to be like on use, it's used up or something like that? And we went this, basically the spells route, right? So you can at any time swap your abilities out, come up with some interesting builds. We decided to add quite a few runes, you know, like 12 runes per class.
It started out with way more too before we kind of trimmed down.
Yeah.
Is it 12 per class period, or is it going to be more?
Just in the 1 to 25. It's
Okay,
12.
so like what I saw in my Warlock, for example, those are my runes.
Yeah.
For now.
Dude, can you...
But now, I want to just say something real quick, guys. So many people, I'm going to have a full section of videos that's going to run over the 12 runes that's going to be available for each class. And I'm going to put this point forward in each of those videos as well. Because don't overanalyze how the class is looking and pick a class based on the runes that they're getting. Because there's going to be more runes, man. Like, you might say, oh, I want to play Shadow Priest. Like, let's hope they've got Dispersion. That'd help with the mana issues. It'll give them a extra survivability. And then you look and there's no Dispersion. And then you're like, fuck that, I'm not playing Shadow Priest. But you've made Shadow Priest for years and you really like Shadow Priest. Play fucking Shadow Priest, because they might add Dispersion later on. We don't know what they're going to add further down the line. And I genuinely feel like the classes that will be weaker in this bracket of 1 to 25 with their rune setup, you know, they're going to look better in the 25 to 40 range. Let's carry on.
So an example of like my Metamorphosis rune was in my glove slot. Is that always going to be the glove slot, or can you put the rune in your pants slot? Or
That will go.
It'll be the glove slot. Okay.
I mean, unless some like rebalance happens at some point, which we would try really hard to avoid that. So the point is for that to be done. To kind of build on that, like a little bit of deep lore for sort of the season is we have been talking about sort of the general idea of this season since literally WoW Classic Beta, the 2019.
That's crazy.
Like, I remember being in a room with folks and we had like we're watching on. It was before the pandemic and we're together in the classic pit, you know, the bull pit or whatever. And we had it on TV. We're watching like I think it was a dueling thing that S-Fan was doing in his guild or whatever. And it was so fun.
Shout out S-Fan.
Just pull all the stops out and just wacky combinations of items and talents at level 30 or whatever. And it was just so fun to watch, and we really loved that. And so when we kind of started working backwards from that idea, well, it was after Season of Mastery came out, we're like, what would we want to do next? We knew we wanted to do something a lot deeper than Season of Mastery, and when we started kind of working backwards from that idea, it was like, well, it would be really cool to have these level breaks, but what are you going to do during that? And one of the things is like, what if like there was like kind of like almost Easter egg hunts like kind of thing, where, and at the time the idea was actually like, hey, why don't we just make these like new class abilities and stuff item set bonuses or something? And it's like, well,
no,
that's cool, but it's like, what if they don't drop? Like, what if, you know, there's a lot of things with that, like, that kind of gatekeep some of the coolest stuff that you'd want to do behind, like, you got to get lucky or you got to spend a bunch of gold or whatever. And so that's like, well, why don't we just have the runes be something that's discoverable, like, as those discoveries? And so that's kind of like the genesis of it, but it's almost something we've been talking about for so many years now, sort of evolved, that, you know, once we actually started working on it, we had a pretty good idea of kind of think what we wanted to do, and we just kind of barreled forward.
Yeah. And the thing I said in the panel, being excited for players to venture forth and discover them on their own, like, I mean that because some of them are actually quite funny.
Yeah.
Like,
Are they gonna be harder to find, or is it, like, can you give an example of what it's like finding? Like, is it like you went to
I'm
a
interested in this,
and there's like a box and it's there or something?
Some of them are that simple. Go ahead.
Well, someone else asked us, like, are these all just like quests or something, or newly added? And I was like, maybe some of them are newly added quests that weren't there before in the game. However, most of them are things like, I've discovered this object in the world, let me interact with it. Oh, it tells me some kind of story, and it gives me hints of where to go. Maybe.
Oh, that's fucking dope.
Right?
Oh,
So
that's dope.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I like that.
Because we went into it knowing this was all going to be data mined eventually, right? And players were going to solve these and make an add-on for it or something. But we also realized that, like,
a little thing on that, guys, there's going to be people that do want the whole like fresh discovery thing, and there's going to be people that just want to get their meta runes straight off the bat. They're going to want to know where to go. So obviously those guides are going to be available. I will make those guides on my channel, but I will make sure that in the title it makes it very obvious that they've got spoilers in them. So if you are planning on subscribing or thinking about subscribing, don't worry. If you see a video titled that's in one of my videos and it's titled with spoiler in brackets, it's a spoiler. So don't click on that if you want to run the game without knowing anything. But if you're the kind of guys that want to just get what is the meta, then obviously I'm going to have the videos for that as well.
even if data mining occurred, like if players don't go and venture out and like actually solve the riddles, they're probably not going to piece it together just by looking at the game files alone.
Is it like random? Like using a metaglyph? Is that metaglyph found or meta rune found everywhere in the world that one way, or is it? Yeah, of course. You know I am, because that's just a simple example.
You know, that's actually good. I'll go ahead and say that rune in particular is
nice.
one that there's lots of categories of how they're discoverable, and that particular one is one that is part of kind of a chain. It's like, because that's really iconic.
Yeah,
it's like
very I can't even explain to you how I felt when I sat down.
Right.
And then logged in and saw that.
That discovery isn't going to be going and looting a chest. There's a lot into that. It might span multiple zones. There's a lot to it. It's
good.
And it's going to be a minute.
So the good runes, you make them work for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
I mean, good is subjective, right? But like the ones that are like impressive, like visually impressive or really iconic, like those are the things that you might have to work for. But it's different. Some are chests. Some are you find an NPC, you speak to them, and they may have a special interaction, and they have you do a thing. Like some of them are traditional quests. It's very varied, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them in the 1 through 25 because there's so many different starting zones that we had to duplicate the runes, but we didn't necessarily duplicate the discovery method. So some zones have their own flavorful discoverry methods that are flavorful through that zone and classes in that zone.
So you can't earn the same rune by doing different things.
Mm-hmm. You can.
Is it like you get the rune in your bag, you use it, and now it's a rune?
Yes.
Yep, you've earned it. Yeah.
Can you? I don't know why it'd matter. They're not. You can't trade them or nothing, right?
You're solo.
So I'm only gonna find a warlock one. So I can't go find a mage one, right? Okay.
And some of
I think that they've made the right decision there, man. Like, you know, classic Blizzard L would be, it's a one-time use thing. You can't change runes without fucking paying 1,000 gold, or you know what I mean? They just make things so inaccessible for no reason. But I feel like Blizzard recently has learned that that's not what the player base want. Players just want to be able to do things. You know, we pay to play your game, let us do things. The game's already got certain boundaries. You can't do anything that you want in the game, but we accept those boundaries as just being that is World of Warcraft. But then when the developers bring out something new and then gatekeep the shit out of it, it really pisses me off, man. Just like, let us have it. It's like, oh yeah, we're introducing flying in this expansion, but you've got to do to give us fucking flying, man. Like, all right, mate, let's do a quest for it or something, but don't drag it out so much. Like, you milk the fuck out of everything, bro. This is the thing, is it's almost like they feel like if they don't attach a bunch of stuff to it, then people won't want to do it. But if you just make good content, people will want to do it. That is like the main thing, is that if you make good content, people will want to do the content. You don't have to attach things to it as such. Just make good content, people will want to play it. And these quests seem cool as fuck, man. Like, there's going to be runes that I don't even necessarily want to use on whatever class I'm going to play, which we'll do a video on that as well, because there's a certain class I've got my eye on. Now, and it's not my normal class either, by the way, so it's not going to be warrior. It's going to be something else. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to, I've been playing a warrior, by the way, for those of you who don't know, since classic, all the way back then. I've been playing a warrior as my main. I've gone out from warrior every now and then, but warrior's always been the one. But it's not going to be the one in classic plus. I'm going to try something completely different. But yeah, I'm going to go out as whatever class it's going to be, and I'm going to want to collect the runes, even though I'm not going to use those runes. Like, I'm going to want to find all the different runes just so I can do it, because it's extra content and it seems fun. You know, like the way that they're explaining it right now with the whole discovery thing, you have to do a little quest change, or you might find a little, I don't know, like a little note that gives you a clue of go here. And yeah, it seems cool to me, man. So I'm going to do that again. Create cool content. People will want to play it. Simple as.
Some of the discoveries do have a cross-class element. Like, you know, I don't think it's too spoilery to say, but like there's maybe one rune where you find a dead character, and you have to do like a ritual with like send their soul to the Shadowlands, right? You need 2 healers for that, right? But like either healer could get their own class rune. Right?
Oh, that's
okay.
Well, that's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be fun, just like little Easter eggs running around trying to.
So each class can get their own class rune from that, and it's going to take 2 players to resurrect. So it could be like a shaman and a fucking priest, let's say, as an example, and they'll both get what I'm gonna guess will be a healer-based class rune from that, which is kind of cool as well, right? Because you're gonna have to, it's gonna make people work together for certain things. That's cool, man. I like that. It's very, very classic.
Exactly. There's a lot of stuff like that.
And it gives you like excuses to interact with other people.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
That's
and
dope.
you're gonna see a lot of people shouting. It's like, hey, I found this thing. I don't know what to do. Does anybody know? And it's like, oh, I know. It's like, oh, I need a buddy for that. Can you come and help me with it? Like that's the intent. Anyway, that's what we hope.
That's the exciting part, is people are saying like if it's capped at 25, that's gonna take. Is it like you didn't change? Are you changing the experience gain from 1 to 20? It's just whatever it is right now.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So that's like super fast. And I'm like, yeah, but now you can go run around everywhere and find.
He says it's super fast because the guy obviously sweats the fuck out of Classic. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to try this. They've never been that interested in Classic because it's not really got the abilities that they want in it, or it seems too slow. Like, it is hard to go from being a retail player and you've got all of these like abilities that you're constantly spamming, and then you go to Classic and all you've got as a warrior is like a mortal strike that you press once every 6 seconds and then auto attack. It is weird. So now with them adding new abilities, you're going to have a little bit more to press. So I don't know, man.
Know your runes
for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, the way we kind of built it too is like we talked in the panel about there's like a tutorial rune, right? Honestly, if you find nothing but that tutorial rune from until you hit 25, you're still going to be kind of pumping. Like,
yeah.
Like the first paladin rune I showed was Crusader.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a true point. To be fair, is that obviously as a ret paladin, you would normally just seal auto attack judgment. So your leveling pace is ridiculously slow because of that. Well, it's not slow, slow and steady. You know, pace of leveling. But now you've got Crusader Strike. You could just walk up to the mob and obliterate them. To be fair, I'm kind of hoping that they've done something about the mobs, because it seems like it's going to be too easy. And the raid content and just the content in general is already pretty easy in Classic. So if they're going to add all these new abilities, everything's just going to die super quick.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, that alone, like, huge change to the paladin level.
Yeah.
If you found nothing else until you hit 25, you'd be jamming.
Yeah.
And most other classes are like that.
The crowd cheered so loud when I said Crusader Strike. I knew they'd cheer, but I didn't expect that.
And in the
so
first one,
Isn't it mad that the crowd cheered so loud when they said Crusader Strike? Because all the Rep Paladins has ever wanted is a button to press. It's the same for most classes though, man. Most melee classes, if you play Classic and you play a Warrior or a Paladin or, well, in Enhanced Shaman, at least you get to press shocks and stuff. But on the rest of them, you're literally just auto-attacking all the way to like level 40 as an Arms Warrior until you get Mortal Strike. In fact, I'm praying and hoping that the mob dodges or something so I can just press Overpower. It's frustrating, man, but in this, all they're doing is adding Crusader Strike, which is only a 75% weapon damage ability, but it just feels nice to press, man. It just does. It feels nice. Because in Classic as well, you've got the fact that auto attacks deal a lot of damage, and it's that nice bursty feel that you get in Classic that's gone in retail, long gone, because auto attacks just don't do any damage now. But when you walk up to something and you crit with your big-ass fucking sword or whatever this invisible object in my hand is, and you crit with an auto attack, and then you use an ability straight after like Crusader Strike or Mortal Strike, and that crits as well. Bam, bam, 2 big numbers, fat chunk gone, and it feels good to play a melee in these older expansions. It really does.
The taunt right into it, it was like their Paldos were going crazy.
Yeah, I was so startled. Yeah.
Exactly.
You find them pretty easy level, and I'll just level out and find some runes. Maybe I'll find meta right away. Just like drop it there for me on the ground right there. She's like, check the dirt ground pile right there.
I mean, some of them are pretty. They're on the critical path, and some of them are a little off the beaten path.
Okay,
That's good.
About the demo tanking, was your thought like, can you main tank as a demo? Or is it supposed to be on par with like a warrior tank, paladin tank, feral druid, or is it more like off tank you're helping?
One thing I'll say on this real quick, I hope it's not on par with warrior tanking, in a sense that I feel like warriors have got a job as a tank, that I want them to bring all the other tanks up to a certain level. This has been a discussion. I'm going to just dial it back a little bit. There's been a discussion in the Classic community for a long time of like nerf warriors, but I don't feel like you need to nerf warriors. I feel like you need to bring other classes up to the point of warriors. Like the way a warrior feels in endgame raiding gear with full world buffs is insane. Like it feels so good to play. If you haven't played it, you should play it, or you should go watch a video on it. It's just really like chaotic, but in a good way, and you just wrecking stuff. Like that feels good. Don't nerf that, bro. Keep that, but bring the other classes up to that kind of level. So for the tanks, don't nerf the way a warrior tank plays, because warrior tanks are the only tank in Classic. Bring the other tanks up so that they don't do that warriors do, but they can do other jobs, you know, like make them viable off tanks, make them insane at dungeons or whatever, man. Really good AoE threat, etc. Don't just, what's the word, homogenize all the classes. There you go, because that's what they did in retail. And retail, just every expansion, they just made more and more classes exactly the same. Every melee's got an interrupt, every caster's got a silence, it's just stupid, man. Just slow that down a little bit, and let's keep each class unique, because that is what Classic is.
Noticing that I'm holding threat easily, but like I don't, in gear.
It should be able to contend with other tanks.
So it's a tank. It's like this is gonna be a main tank.
I think if you've noticed playing the demo enough too, like you play Horde, if you're trying to shaman tank Baron and Quantus, you might have a bad time. You're not gonna have enough mana, right? Because shamans, they get a lot of their mana regen from blocking, right? So you got a heavy physical fight, they're your guy. But for something like Baron and Quantus, you can hit them from range with Searing Pain, and you're good, you're chilling. Yeah. Even if you get knocked out, you're still gonna hold aggro. So that's one of the things that we thought was cool, like still letting them keep some unique flavor.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's how Classic is, right? Like,
yeah.
A warrior is good for something, a bear is good for something else. A bear can really pump threat with like an MCP, manual crowd pummeler, and like a warrior is just really good at just massive sustained threat over time.
Guys, a lot of people are questioning it. Are you guys worried or thinking about level 60, the raids at 60 with the runes? With the raids already being like really, really easy.
On that note, I'm going to be right back and get another coffee. All right, we're back. I've got coffee. I fucked up. I was coming back to my desk. I tripped over some shit. I knocked all my camera down. I spilt my fucking coffee. So I've had to make another coffee. So here we are. We've got another coffee. Everything's all good. Nothing got broke, fortunately. So, yeah, I'm tripping all over the place. My fucking stupid ass just tripped over a wire, and it was nearly the end of me. But fortunately, it wasn't. So I lived to see Classic Plus. Thank God for that. So, yeah, let's get back into this anyway. I'm sorry if the camera positions changed or anything. I tried to, prop it all back up the best I could. But, yeah, let's carry on. It was around here somewhere.
To, like,
survivability.
Balancing strikes and stuff like that, right? So
I like that. Are you guys? A lot of people are questioning it. Are you guys worried or thinking about level 60, the raids at 60 with the runes? With the raids already being like really, really easy without this system, and now that's going to make even everybody like more powerful.
Yeah, here we go. I'm interested. I'm interested in what they've got to say about this. They're looking at each other like shit. Like, if we didn't even think about that, could you imagine that? They definitely did.
One thing we are doing, like to the open world in general even, is we're increasing the damage output of mobs such that like at least you should feel threatened. You shouldn't be able to pull an entire zone in Classic and be able to just tank that. And so like...
That's an interesting move. They're increasing the damage of mobs. There's certain classes that are going to suffer from that more than others. An example, a mage, where a mob barely ever touches it, compared to a warrior that face tanks everything, and a rep pally and an enhanced charm, and any melee in general. Is going to suffer from that a lot more than any caster is going to suffer from that. I'm not too sure that was the right way to approach it, but when she says that nobody should be able to pull an entire zone in Classic, I can't think of any ability that they've added that would suddenly allow any class to do that. Because obviously they couldn't before. I mean, the closest thing we've ever had to pull an entire zone, you know, a big pack of mobs, let's just say, is obviously mage AoE farming, which has always been a thing. But there's no class now. Example, they've not gave warriors die by the sword 100% chance to parry and blade storm. So warrior can't sweeping strikes, blade storm, die by the sword and just parry everything and one-shot everything without taking any damage. That's not something that they've added to the game. They've not added anything that's just like a mass... I don't know, from the gameplay that I watched, even though there's new abilities, it's still very classic. You know, all your casters are running out of mana super quick, your warriors are still very rage starved, even with the 25% increased rage generation, it's not making a huge difference. They added that in TBC and nobody even really took it. It wasn't a talent that you took as a PvP player, for example. So, I don't know how I feel about that, man. But let's carry on. Let's hear what they got to say.
And we also thought about, like, we initially talked about, like, well, should we increase everything's HP as well? And I was like, well, we also don't want stuff to be like you're just sitting there.
You want it to be more punishing rather than, like, just beating your head.
Yep.
And that's
I like that.
That's really the thing about vanilla, too, is that it's like...
It's a hard one, man. So they was thinking about increasing the mob's health to make the mobs more spongy, and they didn't go that route, but instead they went the route of increasing the mob's damage. But either way that you look at them, both have got downsides.
I like that.
That's really the thing about vanilla too, is that it's like, it's not necessarily that stuff has a ton of health, it's just that things hit you hard, and if you pull too many, you're gonna die. And that's, I mean, that's, we know that from hardcore, we know that from, you know what I mean? Like, so that was really the focus, is like, well, let's just make things more deadly, so that you're still, you know, if you're blasting, but if you pull 5 things, you're just gonna die. No getting around it.
Do you plan to change anything about the 60 raids? Like,
The thing is, though, is that with them adding mainly abilities that make your class deal more damage. As an example, let's just use Rep Pally, right? Because everybody's looked at the Rep Pally changes. I feel like they have anyway. So Rep Pally's got Crusader Strike. So normally a Rep Paladin would walk up to a mob with his seal applied and he'd auto attack. The seal would proc and he'd judgment and he'd reapply his seal, right? And he'd just auto attack the mob to death. Now, if that mob hits harder, the Paladin would just lose more health while he's fighting that mob, which would just mean that he'd have to take a break or just cast a Holy Light in a Paladin's case more often in between mob pulls. So he might be able to have pulled 5 mobs, now he might be able to only pull 3 mobs and he'd have to take a quick break. Not so quick in Classic though, is it? But with them adding things like Crusader Strike, is the Rep Pally not just going to walk up and just bam, and like, you know, proc and fucking, does Crusader Strike, can seals proc off Crusader Strike? It's an interesting question. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on that. But obviously if your seal can proc off Crusader Strike, that could be a shit ton of burst damage. So bam, mob's dead. So the fact that the mob hits harder, it didn't even chance to do anything. If you're a warlock and you cast a chaos bolt on a mob, does it just half health the mob instantly and then bam and the mob's dead? Maybe the health increase was the right choice. Possibly. I don't know, man. That's a rough one. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Would you rather have seen the mobs have a damage increase or a health increase? Or maybe even a little bit of both might have worked. You know, the mobs hit a little harder and they've got a little more health. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's a hard one, man. There's pros and cons to both, I feel like. And even the third option of a split of both, there's still pros and cons to that as well. Yeah, let me know in the comments, guys.
Mechanically wise or anything, or it's like MC's MC.
It's honestly kind of too soon to say. I think it would be pretty surprising if we didn't make some adjustments, but it's just too soon to say specifics.
Yeah, that's fair. So what's the, if you can even say that, like, it's 25 and then it's going to be like 35 or 40, is it gonna, or you're going to do a couple before 60 eyes take it, right?
Okay.
So, I think
Brackets. What are the brackets going to be? How many brackets are there going to be before 60? Here we go, listen up.
We're being coy. We're being
Yeah.
coy a little bit about what the next
fair.
level band is and what the next raid.
No, don't do that. Just
But you
tell
said
us,
it'd be
bro.
a month, right?
No, it will be some number of weeks. We're trying to be unspecific about that. It's
Okay.
probably more than a month, less than 3 or 4 months.
That's
It'll
good.
be
Yeah.
it'll be a
6 to 8
enough time
weeks.
for you to dig in, make sure you can find all the runes, make sure you
Maybe
can
8 to 12
raid,
weeks.
Get your best in slot from the raid if you want to get it. There's some discoveries that take you into the raid and things like that. Make sure that you have the ability to do all that.
I'm more worried if there's if it's a couple months, unless you add more to it. If it's just BFD, right? It's going to be BFD. There's the one raid in that one bracket. I think
There's-
it's-
bracket right
Yeah,
now.
okay.
Go ahead.
There's something too, like if we too far in advance, if we decide hard dates on things and just say, okay, this is going to be out for this long, we really run the risk of too short or too long, right?
Yeah,
So we're trying
true.
to be really flexible.
Flexible,
especially
yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
team
Best way.
size. We can pivot relatively quickly, and so that's why we're always like ear to the ground, trying to figure out like, okay.
Bro, it's so weird to sit and agree with the devs of what they're doing. Normally, I'm sat here and I'm like, no, how did you guys get this job? But honestly, recently, everything that I'm watching from Blizzard, it's like, I just agree. It's like, fuck yeah, these are just normal people that are passionate and love the game and then know what they're doing. It's a Blizzard W. It really is.
Like, what feels good.
Okay, last raid question. Are they all going to be 10-man during these brackets?
Oh.
Sure, yeah, honestly. Like, this is one of the cool things about kind of the power of creating content in WoW. Actually, we've got very robust tools that we've built up over decades, right? And it's not terribly difficult to kind of turn the knob and say like, oh, yeah, let's start working on this as a 10 player. It's like, you know what, this would feel better as 20. Let's just crank some numbers up and it works. So obviously some mechanical changes and stuff, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say, I think the thing we're a little concerned about too is the nature of Season of Discovery too is that, you may level to 25, find all the runes, level an altar too, and maybe you want to just kind of take a break for a week or two. Like, we don't want to shackle you to the game. Approachability and respecting your time is a big goal here.
That's good coming from Blizzard. Did you hear that? Approachability and respecting your time as a player is a big goal here. With a fucking fist out. Yes, good. It's about time, bro. I feel like retail needs to take some cues from the classic team. Like earlier on in this video, no, it wasn't this video. It was another video I did. But in that video, he basically, he was talking about, he said, I've got a video coming on it, but it's about solo queue. And he said that we should maybe take some notes from the retail team. But I feel like the retail team really needs to start taking notes from the classic team, because the classic team is saying all the right things. I mean, what they're saying and what they'll do, who knows? But they're saying it in an interview, man, and people are going to hold them to this stuff. So, yeah, great. Blizzard W again.
So we don't also want to get in a situation it's like, well, you need 40 people, and if 5 people decide they want to take a break, your raid is in trouble, right? So that was part of the reason for, like, during the level up process, smaller raid sizes kind of made sense for that.
Are the battlegrounds in at the first phase?
Warsong Gulch will be.
Yeah. Are you gonna
Nice.
do like the same thing, or will it be like all level 25 one only, or like how's the brackets gonna work with it? Just the normal way.
Yeah, it'll be the normal way
Okay.
for the most part. Yeah, PvP's honor system's on. But people won't be able to grind out rank 14 because we're still scaling based on your
Course.
level, how much honor rewards you can actually earn in the raid. So,
That makes sense.
That's cool.
You won't be able to get past a certain point. There's really good, like, I think we mentioned this in the panel, that the Ashenvale PvP event gives Warsong Gulch rep for Horde Alliance, right?
Yeah.
And there's some
Nice.
pretty spicy rewards there. I don't know if you noticed what like on the VOD and stuff, it's hard to see.
Yeah.
The
Those
mounts?
mount models.
Yes.
Those are the original unarmored mount models.
Yeah,
That's a
sick.
brilliant idea. That
From
Ashenvale is a brilliant idea.
And so you're going to get those from Warsong Gulch rep now.
That's
So
That's dope, man.
Very cool. And obviously they're only usable in Ashenvale, but they're very, very enticing rewards for that. So we're hoping PvP takes off really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about PvP in the new retail expansion, and there's a lot of talk about PvP in Classic as well, which is really good for me because it baffles me that there's people that raid but don't PvP, and there's people that PvP and don't raid. Like, it's crazy. You're literally missing a huge part of the game by not playing the other section of the game. You know, I'd say a solid 70% of the WoW player base is strictly PvEers, which is crazy, man. It's such a small percentage of the player base that PvP is, and why the PvP in an MMO is never going to be balanced. And if you want to go and have balanced PvP, go play League of Legends. The PvP in WoW is never fun when it's balanced. When it's too balanced, that's not when it's fun, man. Like, if I think back to my favorite expansions for PvP, it's got to be MoP. MoP was insane, and the way that MoP handled balance was, let's just make everybody insanely overpowered. That's it. Like, there was, I think, in my opinion, every class played the best in MoP. Every class. I loved it, man. What was the Shadow Priest? Bro, Shadow Priest was dope. You had the Fade ability that would make you invisible, right? That was insane. They removed that. Right, you had the little feathers you could chuck on the ground that would give you a fat movement speed like a rogue sprint. So you could chuck a feather on the ground, fade, go invisible, hit that, and you could be like the other side of the map before you come out of your short like 2-second stealth or whatever it was, 3 seconds, maybe 1.5 seconds. I don't actually remember, but it'd let you get a clean cast off. It'd let you get some distance from melee that you're getting trained by, etc., etc. It was so good, bro. You had the shadow orbs. You had the little crows that circle around you as you got more shadow orbs. More crows would circle around you. It was an insane visual effect. It looked insane to me. At the time, I was watching a lot of Naruto, and Itachi was my favorite character. And with the whole crow theme, that's what actually made me play a Shadow Priest. And I loved it, man. I loved the talent system, the way it was just bam, 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 bam. Pick your main talents. It was good. It was fucking great. And then they just like removed all of that. Like, none of that I just mentioned exists anymore in Shadow Priest. It just doesn't exist. And that's wild to me. Like, they made such a good version of Shadow Priest, and then they just scrapped it. It's just, oh man, they made so many bad decisions over the years. It's just insane. But if you're a PvEer and you've never tried PvP before, please just give it a try, man. Especially in this Classic Plus, it's super simple. You're going to be level 25. You're not going to have a ton of abilities. Everybody's going to be down in Ashenvale. Everybody's going to be queuing Warsong Gulch. Come down, have some fun, man. Honestly, great. So as far as this entire interview goes, I mean, I think we're pretty much finished now.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Hope I didn't annoy you guys with my millions of questions.
Blizzard W for letting them stream this. Big win, honestly, for the interviewer. I'm going to link the full video down below in the description. He's a Twitch streamer, and this guy has got access to these two devs, had a nice interview, and it's just good, man. It's nice to see the whole PR side of Blizzard just kind of like back off a little bit and let them live stream this, and it's not super official. It's just a dude sat down with another dude and a chick. Everybody's super passionate about the game. Everybody's super passionate about the project, and they're just having a nice discussion. It's just a friendly chat. It's been good. Look, both got a smile on their face. Dude behind the camera's got a fat grin on his face. I already know he has. And yeah, dope, man. Nice one, guys. Thank you for watching this video. If you're interested in Classic Plus and Classic Cataclysm, this is the channel to subscribe to. I'm going to be covering everything. I'm mainly going to be focusing right now on Classic Plus or Season of Discovery, just because it's right around the corner. We've got a few weeks until it's out. And then as that comes out, I'll slowly start releasing Cata content, because obviously we're only in Ice Crown right now on Wrath of the Lich King. So we're going to have a while before Cataclysm comes out. But I've already got Cataclysm videos up. I've done 100 hours impression on there, so check that video out as well, where I played Cataclysm for 100 hours just to refresh my memory. It's a long time ago, man. And yeah, Cataclysm's dope, man. It's really good. So I'm super excited for the future of Classic, honestly. Classic Plus is looking amazing. Cataclysm's going to be amazing. Fingers crossed they're going to MoP, because that's my favorite expansion for PvP and PvE. Throne of Thunder was insane. So yeah, nice one, guys. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, please hit the video with a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the whole thing. What do you think about Classic Plus? Is this Blizzard's version of Classic Plus what you wanted? Is this not what you wanted? Let me know. I'm scouring Reddit, looking through everything, and the community seems super split on it. There's so many people that are super negative about this, and in the same light, there's so many people that are so positive about it. So what do you guys think? Thanks for checking out the video, guys. See you in a bit. Peace.